You're born around 1575 in Echizen Province, Fukui, Snow Country. Your father is a low-ranking samurai who serves a lord he'll never meet and dies in a border skirmish when you're 4. Your mother remarries a rice merchant who has no interest in raising another man's son. You eat, you sleep, you stay out of the way. That's the arrangement. Nobody tells you about your real father. You find out from a neighbor when you're 7. He was a swordsman, not a great one. Just good enough to die holding a blade instead of running. You decide that's the most honorable thing you've ever heard about anyone. You want to be like him, not the dying part, the holding part. At 9, your mother sends you to study under Toda Saigen. He's old, he's blind in one eye, and he's the most dangerous man you'll ever meet. Toda is the master of the Chujo Ryu school of swordsmanship, a style built on precision and economy. No wasted movement, no wasted breath. Every strike has a purpose. Every block sets up the next attack. He fights with a kodachi, a short sword, which means he has to be faster and smarter than anyone using a longer blade. He's both, by a wide margin. You train under Toda for 6 years. You wake before dawn. You practice cuts until your shoulders burn and your fingers bleed through the wrappings. You do this every day. Rain, snow, summer heat that turns the training yard into a furnace. Toda doesn't care about weather. He cares about the sword. He teaches you that a duel isn't won in the moment of the strike. It's won in the 3 breaths before the strike. Reading your opponent. Understanding their rhythm. Finding the gap between their intention and their execution. That gap is where you live. That gap is where they die. But you're different from your master. Toda fights with a short sword. You're drawn to the opposite. The nodachi. A long sword, over 3 feet of curved steel. Heavier and slower than a katana. Most swordsmen consider it a battlefield weapon, too unwieldy for single combat. You disagree. You believe that if you can master the nodachi's length, you'll have reach that no opponent can match. They'll be dead before they're close enough to touch you. Your classmates think you're insane. Toda watches you train with it and says nothing for 2 years. Then one morning he tells you that you're either going to revolutionize swordsmanship or get yourself killed. He doesn't say which one he thinks is more likely. You name your sword Monohoshi Zao, the drying pole, because it's so long it looks like the bamboo pole's laundry hangs from. The name is a joke. The blade is not. 3 shaku and some, over 90 centimeters of steel. You learn to swing it like it weighs nothing. The trick isn't strength. It's understanding the arc. You let the blade's own weight do the work. You start the cut earlier than anyone expects and finish it later than anyone can react to. The sword is slow until it isn't. By the time your opponent sees the angle, the steel is already through them. At 15, you duel Toda's younger brother. This is your graduation exam. The brother is a competent swordsman, fast with the standard katana. The fight lasts 6 seconds. You cut him across the chest before he completes his first strike. He survives. Barely. Toda watches from the edge of the yard. He nods once. You bow. That nod means you're finished here. You've outgrown the school. There's nothing left to teach you. You're 15 years old and already one of the best swordsmen in Echizen. But Echizen is a province. Japan is a country. You need to find out which one you belong to. You leave Toda's school and begin wandering. This is the Musha Shugyo, the warrior's pilgrimage. You travel from province to province, dojo to dojo, challenging every swordsman with a reputation. You fight in temple courtyards, on riverbanks, in castle towns where samurai gather to test themselves. You win. Every time. Not close victories. Clean, decisive wins where your opponent realizes mid-swing that the drying pole has already found its target. Some yield. Some don't. The ones who don't become lessons for the ones who come after. You develop your signature technique during this period. You're watching swallows hunt insects above a river near Kumamoto. The birds dive, reverse direction mid-flight, and strike from an angle that shouldn't be possible. A single fluid motion that contains 2 changes of direction. You study this for days. Then you go to the training yard and you don't leave for a month. The technique you create is called Tsubame Gaishi, the swallow cut. It's a strike that appears to come from one direction, then reverses into a second cut from the opposite angle so quickly that the 2 motions blur into one. Your opponent blocks the first strike and dies on the second. Or they dodge the first and step directly into the path of the second. There's no correct response because the technique eliminates the gap between attack and counterattack. The gap that Toda taught you to exploit in others, you've removed from yourself. By the time you're 20, nobody in Western Japan will duel you. Your reputation has outrun you. Swordsmen hear the name Ganryu, your fighting name, and suddenly remember urgent business elsewhere. You've founded your own school. You call it Ganryu Ryu, the large rock style, immovable, unstoppable. The rock doesn't chase the river breaks against the rock. Word of your skill reaches Hosokawa Tadaoki, one of the most powerful lords in Kyushu. He's a warrior himself, a man who fought at Sekigahara and survived. He recognizes talent because he's surrounded by mediocrity. He invites you to serve as his chief weapons master. You accept. You train his samurai. You demonstrate techniques that make veteran soldiers look like children holding sticks for the first time. You live in a castle for the first time in your life. You eat well. You sleep on tatami instead of dirt. People call you sensei. People bow when you enter a room. You're 25. Life is good. But there's a name you keep hearing. A name that follows you from province to province like a rumor that won't die. Miyamoto Musashi. They say he's undefeated. They say he killed his first opponent at 13. They say he fights with 2 swords at once, a style so unorthodox that traditional swordsmen don't know how to counter it. They say he's wild, unpredictable, the opposite of everything you represent. You are precision. He is chaos. You are the perfected technique. He is the absence of technique. Every duel of his you hear about ends the same way. He arrives late, fights dirty, breaks every code of conduct, and wins anyway. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. You have your school, your lord, your reputation, but every time someone says his name, there's an unspoken question underneath it. Who's better, you or him? You hear it in the silence after his name is mentioned. You see it in the eyes of your students. You feel it like a splinter under your skin that you can't reach. The question won't go away until one of you answers it. The challenge comes in 1612. You're approximately 37 years old. Some accounts say younger. The historical record is unclear, like everything about your life. What's clear is this. A duel is arranged between you and Miyamoto Musashi, brokered by your lord Hosokawa Tadaoki himself. The location is Funajima, a small island in the Kanman Strait between Honshu and Kyushu. You chose an island because Musashi has a reputation and his opponent's students have a habit of interfering. On an island, there's nowhere for a mob to come from. It's just 2 men in the water. April 13th. You arrive on time. You've bathed. You've dressed in your finest clothes. Your hair is tied back. Your sword is oiled and perfect. You stand on the shore and you wait. This is what a samurai does. He arrives with honor and he fights with honor. The officials are there. Your students are there. The sun is rising. Musashi is not there. 1 hour passes. 2 hours. 3. The sun climbs higher and the heat builds and you stand there, waiting. You know what he's doing. He's trying to unravel you. He's sitting somewhere, probably on a boat, letting your discipline rot in the sun. Every minute that passes is designed to replace your focus with fury. You know this. And it works anyway, because knowing that someone is manipulating you doesn't stop the manipulation from working. It just means you get to watch yourself fall apart in real time. When Musashi finally appears, stepping off a small boat onto the shore, the sun is behind him. He looks like he just woke up. His hair is uncombed, his clothes are wrinkled, and in his hand, instead of a sword, he's holding a wooden oar that he's carved into a rough blade shape. An oar. He's brought a boat oar to the greatest duel in Japan. The insult is so profound that something breaks inside your chest. Not your courage, your composure. You draw the drying pole and throw the scabbard into the sand. Musashi looks at the scabbard on the ground and says the words that will follow you into eternity. You've already lost. A samurai who throws away his sheath has no intention of returning alive. You charge. The swallow cut, your perfect technique, the one that has never failed. The first strike catches the edge of his headband and slices it clean off. An inch lower and his skull splits open and you're the greatest swordsman who ever lived. But it's an inch high, and in the fraction of a second it takes you to reverse into the second cut. Musashi steps inside your range and brings the oar down on your head. The impact is instant. Your vision goes white, then dark. You feel the sand against your face, but you don't remember falling. Somewhere far away, there's the sound of waves. You're 37 years old, or maybe younger. The historical record is unclear. What's clear is that you're dying on a beach on a small island that will be renamed after you, the only honor the world gives to men who lose in the right place at the right time. And here's what they won't write in any book. In the last seconds, lying on the sand with the tide coming in, you don't think about the duel. You don't think about the oar or the scabbard or the 3 hours of waiting in the sun. You think about the swallows above the river in Kumamoto, the way they cut through the air like the air was made for them. You spent your whole life trying to move a sword the way those birds moved. You came close, closer than anyone before you. But close isn't enough when the man across from you doesn't follow any rule you've trained for. Musashi walks away from the island. He never fights another lethal duel again. He'll live another 33 years. He'll write a book. He'll paint. He'll become the most famous swordsman in Japanese history. But here's what people forget. After he kills you, something in him goes quiet. He later calls you the strongest opponent he ever faced. The only one who nearly killed him. The only one whose technique was genuinely perfect. You are Sasaki Kojiro. You are the greatest swordsman who lost. And 400 years later, the island still carries your name, not his, yours. Ganryujima, Ganryu's island. Because history doesn't always belong to the winner. Sometimes it belongs to the man who was so good that killing him was the only way to beat him. Somewhere in a dojo in Fukui, a boy is picking up a wooden sword for the first time. It's too long for him, too heavy. His instructor tells him to put it down and use a shorter one. The boy refuses. He swings it again. It feels wrong. It feels impossible. He swings it again and again. Somewhere above the training yard, a swallow cuts through the morning air, changes direction mid-flight, and disappears.